Boom. Hello, and welcome to the live stream of consciousness. It's Michael Zinn. I'm here, and just barely, man. I got to tell you, I was at an event all day, and I had to come and do the broadcast. So I left thinking I would have 20 minutes, sometime set up, and I just barely got here under the nose of the time. So here I am. Welcome to the live stream of consciousness, the new live stream of consciousness with just me and my guests. And I'm glad you guys are here. I do want to thank you guys for always encouraging me to make sure I get here on time, because that's why I do it. So it's been a pretty cool week. Like I said, I was at an event at the studio today. We were launching a company that we're doing web design and all of these things that the studio does. And so it was a Cinco de Mayo celebration. Happy Cinco de Mayo to everybody. And it went really well. And I'm just super happy with the team that is developing over there at the studio. And maybe one day I'll take the live stream on a tour of the studio or something like that, so you guys can see behind the scenes what I do. Anyway, again, thank you guys for always being here. I see I got some comments here. What's up, Lily? How's it going? I have an amazing guest today who some of you guys have met before on the show. He is I love to say this, he is a mystic. He is a shaman. I just love that I have friends who are actually that. And like actually that. So I'm going to bring him on, Mr. Bryan Lahr. Welcome to the show. What's up, buddy?
Wow, it's good to be back again. How you doing?
Yeah. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. It's been a little bit, and
A
I
little
know
bit, yes.
there's some reasons that it's been a little bit. You were going through some transitions, and why don't you jump right in and talk about that?
Well, before I do that, I kind of want to talk about, an upcoming event that we're going to be doing, which is a show about the tarot. And what's going to be different about this particular perspective is that the way I read and have learned for many, many years is to look at the tarot as the fool's journey. So, like the first 22 cards of the major arcana begin with the Fool, and then the Fool goes and meets each successive card with lessons in each one of them. So by the time he gets to the last card, which is the universe, the world for some people, he's got he's got the tools. He's got he's now prepared to go out and, he's been through the fire. He's been through the goodness. He's gotten the inspiration. He's had the hard knocks and the rewards. And now it's time to go experience the world, fully prepared to experience it to its fullest.
Yeah.
And so the very first card in that process is the Fool, and what he kind of represents is this naivete in a way, but also this just wanderlust for the glowing light over the horizon. And like in one of the original decks that a lot of people use, the Rider-Waite deck, it's a guy standing there with a pack over his shoulder with all his world belongings, and he's leaving his old home behind. He's leaving the place he's been forever, and he's going in search of something new. The other cool thing about that is he has no idea what he's going after. He just knows it's going to be really great. and he sets off in this amazing, total faith and belief in his own destiny and his own process to learn and to grow. And so we originally started talking about doing this show right as all of this stuff was really kind of coming to a head. I just had the darkest time in my life. That person that was me just died in every single way that you can die, except your body dying. And at that moment, I really would have welcomed that too.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah,
and
I
it
remember.
was, yeah, I know it was, and it wasn't even so much an emotional space, is that every single message I was getting from the universe, everything that was going on in me, things that were happening to my abilities that were, I won't even begin to get into all of
Right,
that.
right,
But it was insane, and it was like, okay, bud, you've had a really great ride. Time to move on, you
right.
know? And okay, cool. You know, I've spent the last 15 years of my life getting ready for that moment. So it's not
Mhm.
like I'm afraid of that, you
Right,
know, not
right,
like I wish for it either. I mean,
right, right. I'm in that
life,
same place. Yep, yep.
life can be really grand, you know, but when you look at it and it looks like in every direction, every option that you have has gone, it
Right,
is non existent. All of the security things you had are gone, not
right,
existent. And you're like, wow, the only option I have is like, you know, picking my own road,
right.
you know, and what is miraculous and astounding is I got a couple of pieces of information from somebody really, really wise. Um, and that piece of information was what it was going to take to turn the situation around.
Oh,
And
wow.
and when he told me that, as cool as it sounds, like, oh, you got an answer at that it, at that moment, that answer seemed as impossible as me bench pressing the Titanic.
Wow.
I mean, it was so like that.
Okay. Wow.
No, that's not. I don't have that in me. It's not possible. And that in essence wiped out my last option. So left with absolutely nothing, I said, fuck it, let's give it a chance. You know, let's go out, let's whatever happens, just
Right,
give it a
right.
chance. So I gave it max effort, and I started seeing some progress. So it got more effort, and I saw more progress, and the goodness started feeding on the goodness, and like
Mhm.
I finally had, you know, I had to get to this place where I released it all. My
Right,
garden, my bonsais, my art, my stuff, all the stuff I
right.
sold and
Yep.
got rid of. Like my entire past went away. Dude,
Right.
this is crazy. In the past 8 weeks, I've lost 5 people that were instrumental mentors
Wow.
in my life or my
I didn't know that.
career.
That we hadn't talked about that. Wow.
And it's like, man, your past is absolutely gone, which I grieved and mourned for, because
Mhm.
I liked the
Of
person I
course.
was
Yeah, yeah, of
building
course.
and
Yeah,
wanted to
yeah.
continue on that. But now that that's all gone, it feels like that's really all gone. And that old past stuff is all gone. I feel like I'm like this fresh, clean,
Renewed.
like
Yeah.
new person. Like
Right.
for the first
Right.
time in my life, I might get to live my life like as the real person I was. Like
Right.
I
Right.
flushed all this karma, and like, oh man, and that feeling of jubilation is almost inconceivable considering where I was just a month ago.
Right. Right.
You
I
know,
remember.
like
Yeah, I
that's
remember.
miraculous. That
Yep.
is,
Yep.
it's mind. My
Totally.
teacher and I were talking about that last night. Mind boggling.
Right.
Absolutely mind boggling.
Right. Well, I remember a month or 2 months ago talking to you, and you were, I remember your concern. It was apparent and it was genuine, and for the viewers who are listening, when I said Brian is a mystic and a shaman, also a bit of a psychic and just intuitive in general. Let's just say intuitive. And Brian told me that he had always been able to kind of know what was next. Like you were able to see that. And
Well, I've always been able to see myself specifically in the future, in the near future.
right,
And like when you're in trouble, when you're in a fix and you can't see the route out, being able to project out to that and see yourself good, it's like I don't know. I've always,
Comforting.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
a part of my sight and my perception of the world
Right. Right.
that's been part of me forever.
Right.
And that, and specifically, like if I went to do something for myself, like a sigil, anything that was directed for my benefit or fixing this, completely did not work. And then about like 90 days out from my birthday, which was February 1st, about 90 days out from that, I stopped being able to see myself in the future. I could still see everybody else around. The future was still going on.
Right. I remember you
Everything was
telling me
there
that. Yep.
except me. And that
Yeah.
was really disconcerting, because the only time that's ever happened was when somebody was about to die,
Right.
you know? And then, dude, like those things were starting to happen, and I was starting to question all of my abilities and like, is anything there, my vision? So I went one night to look at, I mean, my emotional landscape was in such extremes. You know, I went, man, you better go look at your aura, check out your light, and see what's going on. And man, I saw some really different colors than I normally I normally see, which kind of concerned me because they weren't in kind of really good ranges. So the next day, I talked to Augie, my teacher, and I said, "Hey, dude, you know, like I went and looked at this last night, and he's been along this road with me the whole time. So he's already experiencing anomalies himself." So I said, "Listen, would you do me a favor and just do a reach out tonight? Go look at my light and see if you notice any different colors. Let's compare notes on that tomorrow and see if it's good." So the next day I talked to him, and he couldn't see me.
Wow.
So he was like,
any
ability he had to lend me assistance, cut like in every direction.
And
I get it.
What do you think that means? What do you think that means as far as?
I think it was a time that I designed for myself. And this is going to sound really crazy and just a story, so just take it at that.
I love stories.
I think that I have brought stuff from past lives, karma from past lives, unresolved crap from past lives that have accumulated to a point that they needed addressing. And that something deep inside me created a program that balances that, rectifies that, addresses that. And, you know, it's kind of like that's my life lesson number. The very first line of the reading for it is, this is a karmic number. And every relationship you have, and dude, it's so like totally true. Like every relationship, every close relationship, every work relationship, everything has been of a karmic nature that I could trace back to other stuff. And so I long ago accepted, you know, this time around I'm there. Hey, girlfriend. I couldn't you know, run from it anymore, and willingly stood to face whatever that was. As scary as that could be, it's like, enough running already, man. This has not been fun living like this and trying to figure this out and unknot this knot that just like, oh my God. Totally. So I just offered it up, went through all the pain on it, and like understood that was sort of going to just run its course. To release and do the hardest thing in the world for me to do, which is give up control and give up my attempts to steer the situation or you know, mitigate the circumstances.
Well, I certainly remember when you were going through some of this, you know, you telling me and feeling the heavy energy of it, you know, of your situation. um, and knowing that I probably would, not hear from you for a while, and you needed to go through some stuff. I think I felt all of that stuff, and I also felt he'll be back. You know what I mean? Like I knew not to worry about you, and but I knew you were worried. I mean, you know what
Well,
I
they
mean?
stripped me down to the bare
Yeah,
bones, dude.
yeah,
Like, your inner crowd, all those little people, little parts of yourself that are like the creative director, the this,
yeah,
the that, my little Jewish friend Zelda that I like grew up with that took care of me when I was sick.
yeah,
Like I
yeah.
have all those people that are my little weird personalities that have
Sure,
those skills.
right.
All of those decimated in a matter of a couple of days.
Yeah, that's
They
crazy.
all went away. It was
Wow,
like deafening
nothing.
in
Yeah,
its
yeah, yeah.
silence. And how,
Wow.
like you start stacking up just those few things I brought up, and the list is like, oh wow. You start stacking those up, and any reasonable objective person would going, wow, this is the end.
Yeah,
I get it.
yeah,
Okay, I
yeah.
acknowledge it, man. I don't try to hide. There's no other way to add that up.
Well, it sounded like it, and the energy surrounding it. Again, I remember I was feeling it when you were telling me where you were at, and again, I knew you'd be back, and I mean, and I want to not to take away from it, but I feel like I want to go back to kind of where you started, and you started talking about this new project that we're working on, but you also started talking about the tarot itself as a story,
That's
because
correct.
I had never heard it that way until we became friends, and you started telling me what the fool's journey is. And so the project that Bryan and I are working on it's actually a YouTube channel called The Fool's Journey, and we're going to be exploring the tarot from I believe the ground up, right? We're just
Exactly.
gonna
We'll start at the pool and work through the initiation.
yeah, yeah.
And
So
with my deck, with the deck I designed, I took that from the just the major arcana, and I continued that throughout the minor arcana cards too. So the whole deck is from the perspective of the fool's journey, which is
amazing.
kind of amazing. It like brought it to a whole. See, that's the great thing about it. You get to the universe and you're ready to go like start again,
Right.
but you're just a fool again at the beginning of an
Right,
amazing new
exactly.
journey.
That's
It's
right. And you
awesome.
and you
It
forget
never
everything,
ends.
right? You
Yeah.
forget everything. So
Well,
I want
no,
to
you build on what you just learned, and like
right.
it's a whole new level
You
now.
have the tools, right? A whole new level, exactly. I want to remind our viewers um, of how we met as far as through artwork. Um,
Ah,
I
true.
was uh, I was the story of how we met was I was on I believe it was a Facebook group. When it was a group of light painter photographers. So light painting is opening the shutter of your camera, moving lights around in front of it, and creating artwork that way.
In a
And there's
dark
so
room. Yeah.
right in a darkened room, right? And there's you could also do I think light painting during like dusk and things like that. But
Well,
anyway,
true.
regardless, there's a bunch of different techniques. But Bryan's work spoke to me so clearly and so loudly. I'm going to bring it up on the screen here. This is some of actually his newer work, um,
Oh, I
and
love that one.
I mean it's really. I mean, I can't imagine that there's anybody out there that this doesn't speak to. You know what I mean? I feel like this is so universal in its visual, and as a photographer and knowing what went into this and knowing how you've really honed your craft. I mean, that's a whole other conversation about this photo. You know what I mean? But this is one of your latest works. I think I have another one also. Wow,
Yeah.
so freaking amazing. Oh my god, you like get mesmerized instantly, and it just starts talking to you. It's just, man, Bryan, amazing.
Well,
So
all my stuff's about magic, like
it's and
everything.
and it certainly is very magical. But the reason I'm showing this is to kind of get to the now go back to the story of where you were at in your life and everything that was happening, and you just took that opportunity to make some new art. And oh, that wasn't it. It's actually this one. um this Bryan, holy moly. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's the last shot I did, and I had a place. I've lived in this place for 14 years. It's a tiny little house and a really nice little cool piece of property in Coconut Grove, and it's all overgrown. And I've spent 14 years like cultivating this amazing garden. I had a bonsai garden, the whole 9 yards, and
right.
I loved light painting out there so much. So anyway, that this was kind of like the last shot, getting ready to go on the road for the next fool's journey,
Right.
that's the last shot I've posted until I get to my new place, which will be Saturday.
All right, the new chapter begins. I
Yeah,
think there's one more from this set,
yeah,
but
the
I
blue
just
wings are my favorite.
love looking. I mean, this is just, there is so many dimensions to this. It's just crazy, and that, of course, is also
Yeah, I
wow.
like that one. I
So,
I love the wings thing, and I've become a real fanatic about. I focused really specifically on the black fiber optics brush
yeah.
because it's become like an actual paintbrush with pigment on it, but it's light,
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
and I was a painter for many years,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's it. Just like that looks like a painting to me. That
Right.
looks like
And this, by the way, for people who kind of know the techniques and see what's going on, art, this is not a reflected piece. This is actually organic,
that's
right?
yes,
I mean,
exactly.
you organically created both sets of wings here. I mean, this
It's
again,
one shot.
I'm in so much awe of this because of knowing what goes into it, and really, like, I think there's a lot of people out there doing light painting like on a kind of basic level, because it's nice to get a good image and a cool image with light painting, and it's fairly easy. But this level of light painting is, I mean, mastery, of I can't even describe it. I mean, you are, I don't think I've ever seen somebody who uses the fiber optics brushes this way. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, and maybe I just haven't seen it, but I'm glad that I'm seeing it through you, because this is just
Well, that's what's kind of exciting for me because I haven't. I'm sure it's out there. I'm sure somebody's done it better, but I haven't seen. That was fresh to me, and as an artist, that's what keeps me inspired and keeps wanting to go. It's like when I started, I kind of got hooked, and being the obsessive addict that I am, man, I
Mhm.
shot like every single night for like
Yeah,
2 years straight.
right,
Like every night, I like was looking at the volume of images I did over a couple of years, and
right.
and it's really funny to see the very first one that I did that sucked so bad. God, just god awful. It was
And at the
funny.
time, you were like, "Oh my god, this is amazing," right?
No, I was like,
Oh,
God, that's god awful.
oh, really? Oh.
Man, I need a lot of practice.
Well, you certainly achieved that. I mean, again,
But there's some amazing guys out there, dude,
oh,
that like
absolutely,
really,
absolutely.
really lit the fire under me. And this medium, I've tried so many different mediums over the course of my life, different kinds of painting and black and
Right,
white
right, right.
stuff and collage, stained glass,
Right.
and this just like, well, one of the best things about my studies has been developing my abilities to see the energetic world
Mhm.
and to see people's aura and their light and to see the flow of the currents and the energy of the ocean that we live in.
Mhm,
It's
mhm.
amazing. It's
Yeah.
beautiful beyond words to sit in my garden and see the energy radiating from the
Right.
leaves of the plants. It's my own personal light show.
And it certainly shows in your work. I think
So
that's what,
that's what I keep trying to like sort of
yeah,
reproduce with this stuff. And the closer I get to that, the happier it makes me.
yeah.
and it really does, like, especially those first couple of ones that you showed. I
Mhm.
was so pleased with those because that kind of, it looks how I see it. I don't
Right,
know if anybody else sees it that way.
right, right,
It
right,
looks how I see it, which is
right. Let me let me bring those back up.
I've been
That way.
trying to get out of my brain
Yeah, some of
for
these.
decades. Ah, yeah, right.
You know, you can never get enough. You can't. It's like you're not. I don't bring it up and go, oh yeah, I saw that one. I bring it up and I'm like, oh man, I gotta look
Well, I enjoy
at this.
using that weird little app that lets you kind of animate stuff. That's cool. But at the same time, I mean, that image to me, that's one of my favorite things about these is they look so kinetic and alive, like there's motion happening. I mean,
Million
it
percent.
doesn't look still at all.
Right, 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 right. Yeah, it's that's it. That's that. It's a photo, but it's also it conveys energy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like more than just a visual. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, so good, Brian. I love that stuff so much. So, if you haven't seen, I'm going to just hold these up. I know we're probably not going to get into this tonight, but this is one of Brian's decks that he created the artwork for. So he created tarot decks. Why don't you talk about? I want you to go back to what you said about the Fool's Journey and how the cards represent that whole thing. I mean, because again, I had never heard that before. This is the other beautiful box. This is the collector's edition set, nice gold. So happy to
Well,
have
a
it.
lot of the major arcana cards are people. So, like, the fool starts off in his journey. He's got his stuff with him, and the first person he hooks up with is the magician, the magus. And the magus gives him his elemental skills, and he teaches him about the nature of energy and wakes up some of his projective abilities and being able to do programs and stuff. And the magus is all about Mercury, so it's like anything that requires intellectual prowess. You know, he gets pieces of from the magus. Magus fills him up, keeps his stuff in his pack for telling him all that stuff, sends him on his way. Meets the priestess, and the priestess is this beautiful woman sitting on this throne, and she's surrounded by these two columns and these veils of sparkling light. And the fool meets the priestess, and the priestess reveals his clairvoyant receptive abilities and his ability to see and his ability to feel things and hear things clairvoyantly. And she is also the keeper of the tarot and gives him the tarot and exposes him to the tarot and lets him through the first veil of the many layered veils that is the depth of the astral
Universe.
ocean. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then from there, he meets the empress, and she teaches him about love and pleasure and all things of the earth that are good and relationships and food and everything that could be making you feel really wonderful. Then the next person is the emperor, and the emperor is the ultimate authority and the person that you have to like get on your side to make things actually happen and get the yes to go ahead and on and on and on and on and on. And each one of those lessons, as they stack up, like you have to do them in the row because each lesson stacks on the lesson from the
Mhm.
one before.
And each lesson connects to each other lesson in some way.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And it's a really, really beautiful story. And it made
I
it,
love listening to it.
until I like kind of really connected it. I didn't come up with that, but
Yeah.
I learned about it. And ever since then, it made it so much richer to me
Yeah,
and
I mean,
made the whole
honestly,
thing just become this cohesive, singular thing rather than 22 random cards that I
right,
do.
right. And I gotta say, I mean, I've known what tarot was probably a long time, and it never like really grabbed me until we became friends. You know what I mean? And now I'm super excited for this Fool's Journey show that we do because I'm going to learn all about it from the beginning from somebody who created a deck that is just poof. So amazing. I know. I keep using that
Well,
term.
a lot of people have a bad attitude about it because
Sure.
there are so many frauds and people that use it to try to get over on people.
It's so easy to dismiss, but I think for me at least, it's so easy to open my heart to it, you know what I mean, and be like, hey, tell me about this, you know what I mean, like
Right.
I want to know about it. I'm
Well,
not.
it's made my life like so much richer. And dude, I use it every single day, man. Like my readings that I do are kind of different, and they're not really fortune telling readings. It's not like this is what's going to happen to you. They're more like they come from an energetic standpoint. So they read the energy of the elements that manifest in the last one. So
Mhm,
if there's like if the outcome of that comes out in a nasty sort of way,
mhm.
there are places along the way that you can change the energy of those cards and change the outcome of what you have,
Right,
which is
right, right.
really amazing. So it becomes like more like your astral weather forecast than a predictor of exactly what's going to happen to you in the next
Mhm,
couple of
mhm.
months. Although you can use it like that if you want to, but
Right,
I like it being able to give me information I can act on.
right. I'm looking for the see if I can find the YouTube channel that we created so that we could get people to subscribe to it. Because when you get 100 subscribers on YouTube, you can customize your URL. So I can make it YouTube/The Fool's Journey, uh, which is going to be the goal when we launch. Um, so just go on YouTube. I'm looking for it right here. Hold on a second. The Fool's Journey. I know that it's here. I've got a few YouTube channels now that I'm managing for some people. So there it is. The Fool's Journey. Uh,
So you have a deck now, man. I think that has to be the first show. It's like teaching you how to bust them. You haven't read them yet,
I
have you?
have not. You know what? I did very very light readings in like I went through the cards and one popped out, so I was like, okay, that means
What one
something.
was it? You got to tell me.
Uh, I don't remember. I think we went over. I think I showed it to you. It was totally on point at the time. I don't remember which one it was. Let me see if it's
This
going to
is
show here.
this is an interesting thing. I make it a thing to like really pay attention to what the first card is.
Uh-huh.
And like when I did I originally put together a little Xerox mock-up of the deck before it was printed, and the
Uh-huh.
first card out of that I pulled was the Magus. When I actually got
Okay.
the deck printed, the first card I pulled out of that was the Magus. When I got the second edition printed, the first card I pulled out of that was the Magus.
Wow.
This is the seventh printing that I've done of this deck,
In a
and
row.
every single first card was the Magus. And in
As
my
I
deck,
said,
there are three Magus cards: Magus of the body, mind, and spirit.
right.
So in every case, it was the Magus of the body, which I just find incredibly curious. Now, am I making that happen?
I mean,
Or is that just like, wow, okay, that's just going to be the way this rolls with me
I
from
did
this
introduce
journey?
you as a mystic and a shaman in the truest form. So,
That's such a crazy
I
thing.
don't remember what it was. I think if I'm trying to remember, it was the Three of Cups, maybe.
Oh,
Uh,
yes. And that's a glorious card.
yeah, I believe that's what it was. I'll have to go back and watch the episodes.
That's a celebration of the festival where where something really wonderful is taking place and
Yeah, yeah.
everybody's celebrating.
And I think that was right around the time where I was switching into at tied in and getting that
That's
new
true.
job
That's
going.
exactly
Yeah, yeah.
right.
Yeah, so it was on point, and again, I guess what we're gonna do with the Fool's Journey is you're just gonna take me from somebody who just has a brand new deck in front of them and needs it,
Exactly.
explained. So
We'll
it's
clean
awesome.
it. We'll charge it up. I'll teach you how to shuffle that thing. It'll be
Yeah,
really good. I
awesome.
think it'll be very fun.
Awesome. I want to try to get either you or me. I want to try to set up a overhead camera so we can show how the cards get laid out on the
Well, my
table, because I
new
know there's
place, the living room, is the podcast studio.
awesome.
So I'm getting a new camera. I'm getting an actual mic that's good, and we'll figure out a way to like get that set up. I've got my I'll
Very
have
cool.
room for my drawing board that has a tiltable top that'll make
Oh,
that
awesome. Yeah,
really
maybe
really
that's awesome.
easy. Yeah.
Cool. I'm really looking forward to it. It's gonna be a good show. I don't know who's out there. I know Angela is into tarot a bit. I don't know if she's out there. She was out there earlier. If anyone wants to ask questions, it's a good time.
Hey to Angela if you're still there.
Yeah, because I mean, again, Bryan is definitely somebody who is unique, and we're going to learn a lot of things from Bryan. I'm super excited about my fool's journey with you.
It'll
Tell
be
me,
really
tell me,
fun.
tell me what's up. What's up? Tell me about your new place. You started talking about Saturday. You're going to be in your new place. What's on the horizon here?
Well, here, this is kind of a funny story about this. I first learned about this, the fact that I was going to be having to move, like way back in October. And I kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And like, oh man, it's just like hitting the fan now.
Right.
And I kept getting this pressure ramped up. And like every month now, it's like escalating intensity. And like, it just was really, 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 really ugly.
Right.
So I finally got on the stick. I've been looking seriously for 3.5, 4 months now, and finding another place in Miami, it's insane. Like prices are like just out of the like. What are you even thinking?
Life is crazy in general right now with anything like that. But go
So,
ahead.
so I was like, I've lived in Miami for a long time, and maybe snipping my connection to Miami is a good thing. And the last kind of like chapter on that part of my life, done, over. I might come back, might not. Who knows?
Gotcha.
So there's a really beautiful place right in the center of the state that is just all of these lakes and national forests and stuff. And I don't know if you've ever heard of Sebring. It's
Oh
where
yeah,
the
I've heard
race
of
is
it.
held.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was looking at a place south of there called Lake Placid, and after buku denials, and man, dude, you used to show up at somebody's place, go, wow, that's really great. Yeah, my credit's okay. Let me fill out an application, write you a check. Here's your apartment.
Right.
Well, now it's like credit checks, background checks, and this check.
Wow,
We need
really?
this more information and pay stubs from the last 6 months, and like,
Right.
what?
Right.
So anyway, it took a long time to navigate through that. I finally found a place in Lake Placid, looked amazing. Put the offer application down on it. Time just kept dragging by. Pressure just kept ramping up. Like
Right.
a month goes by. Called the real estate guy. Said, "Listen, dude, you gotta like fix this, like now."
Right.
And while I'm
You
talking
needed to
to
leave
him,
someplace, right?
I needed to leave, man.
Right.
It's like
Right.
the house is sold next door. The property's been sold. I should have been out of here a month and a half, 2 months ago.
Right.
So as I'm talking to him in the middle of that conversation, he goes, "Oh wow, let me check this." And a notice popped up for this amazing little place in Sebring. And it's like I had all the stuff already filled out. I went and checked it out, looked at all the pictures. I was like, I don't need to go see it. Do it. Get
Wow.
it done. And by the end of the day, I'd already paid for it, paid the first month's rent. Done. It was
Wow.
mine.
There you go.
In less than 24 hours after an excruciating 4 months.
That must have felt great, Bryan. That must have
It
been like
it is
such
just
an exhale, such a
gratifying beyond words. And whereas I was mourning leaving this place, 14 years is a long time, a lot of cool stuff. At the same time, I'm now like, I'm chomping at the bit. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, come
You got
on.
it.
I can't wait for the new adventure. It's going to be amazing. And there's something there calling my name that's really cool. They're in a little small area of towns. There's like 8 metaphysical shops. Like the dude's, really
I
cool.
was right. I said everyone will soon know you. You're like, I don't know anyone. I'm like, but they'll soon all know you.
Yeah, there'll be wanted posters up at the post office.
That's super exciting, man. That's like, seriously, you're like at the precipice of infinite possibilities right now. It's like
a freshly gessoed canvas.
Yeah, man. Awesome. Good for
You
you,
want to
Bryan.
be.
I'm super excited for you. And you know what? I hope that the Fool's Journey show that we do is part of the springboard to, that next level for you.
I think that's totally part of that, and I've spent a lot of time, in the last couple of months. I sort of retreated. There was so much trying to deal with my inner landscape and trying to figure all this out that it was just everything I had. So it was, and it was time for that part to end so the new part could show up.
Yeah, man.
It's good.
Well, welcome.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Well, I don't want to. I was thinking that we would get into it a little bit and show the cards and stuff, but I think we should save that all for the Fool's Journey. That should be something really special.
All right.
I mean, unless you feel like, I don't know if Lily wants a reading, or you feel your energy, or I don't know what to do right now. I almost feel like very satisfied that we've reconnected. We've had our conversation.
Yeah.
Come
back from the dark, from the shadow.
Yeah, man. Super excited.
From the valley of death. Fear no evil. Yeah, exactly. Magic is an amazing thing, dude. It's been a crazy journey, speaking of journeys. I mean, I'm like 64. Started when I was 6. And the things, I did a lot of reflecting when I was thinking maybe this is the end. I looked back and just reviewed in a way I've never reviewed before, and found this really deep gratitude for the path I've gotten to. All of it, the good, the bad, the ugly, really joyous and painful. I've gotten to see amazing things that I don't know that many people get to see.
Right. Well, I think just the words that you're speaking right now are so important, and that gratitude and that self-love, you know what I mean? Of just like, you know what, I could be like, oh man, I don't have this, or I didn't accomplish this, or I could do that.
Well, let me share something. You just spurred some. I almost shared it a little while ago, but this is the key that turned it around.
Okay.
And this is the critical part of the message I got from Augie's teacher.
Okay.
And that was, without going into a complexity of other things that were going around, I was feeding the reality with my own desolation and despair. And it was all consuming, and it was making some options show up that were going to be so infinitely even worse than what I was experiencing now. Or the only way, and that the program was such, and this, I'm talking about the thing I constructed to make this happen.
Sure.
Was such that nobody could offer outside help. That's why my teacher was cut off. There wasn't anything that could stop it, that I just had to go through it. And that there was really only one way out. And that was to change my attitude from despair to joy. Which at that moment, when you think you're dying in a few days,
Mhm.
It was the most impossible thing I'd ever heard. And
Mhm.
it made me laugh at just how ludicrous that seemed at the moment. So when I finally decided to give it a chance, I kind of was looking at it as a scale from like despair to joy.
Okay.
Well, I tried to move the needle up to joy, joyous memories. What, man, I couldn't get it there.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I was able to get it to gratitude and start looking back and being really grateful for all
Mm.
the things I've gotten to do, the people I've known, the memories I have, the love
Mhm.
I've
Mhm.
shared
Mhm. Mhm.
with people, and I was able to hold it there, which
Right.
was the most important part. And once
Mm.
I was able to hold it there, that became a base that I was just bit by bit. And as things just like, you get little hints. Oh, wow,
Mhm.
that's actually working,
Right.
and those
Right.
make you
Right.
go there more and easier to go there
Right.
more. And now I'm like, woohoo!
Dude, it's amazing because I mean I know I've told this story of probably a few times on the show. I'll try to not. I'm not going to tell the story, but the context of what you're saying, and even when I first signed on before we went live and we were just talking to each other and I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And what did you say to me?
Excellent.
And I said, "Man, that is my favorite answer." And you said, uh, "Especially when you mean it." And that's the story I tell is that question is around you all day long. Hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? And most of the times, pay attention. People are like, I'm hanging in there. The answer is not encouraging. But when you say, I'm excellent, that's encouraging. And you're doing this energy exchange where you're giving that person who you're telling that you're excellent the hope that, oh, wow, excellent. That's awesome. I want to be excellent. And you are also reinforcing whatever it is inside of you that's feeling excellent. And like I said, even if you're kind of like, "Oh, I woke up feeling today," it's easy when someone asks you how you're doing and you have the intention of answering, "I'm doing excellent," to find that gratitude and be like, "You know what? I am grateful about something today." You know what I mean?
Well,
And it's always genuine.
let me share something with you because this is really
Sure.
crucial to the way I live life now. I see life through the lens of the energy world.
Mhm,
And when you go to that place and it's devoid of your humanity
mhm,
and all it is are currents of flowing energy, you realize that the light and the frequency of energy that's yours is always emanating that frequency out
mhm,
into
mhm,
the universe.
mhm, mhm. Yep.
And that has, without morals or judgment or any of our kind of associations with that,
Mhm,
just from a physics standpoint, energy will go out like that and reflect back. So when you're in an awful mood and you're thinking about how awful things are,
mhm,
that's the energy you're sending out to the universe to
mhm.
send you more of.
Right.
And when you're in that space, it seems so hard.
Yep.
But when you realize, devoid of how I'm feeling about it or my emotional state, that what I choose to emanate on a moment to moment basis is what will be returned to me. I
Mhm,
knew that lesson, but I know that lesson now. I
mhm,
mean,
mhm.
ooh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
And that it like I said, it's so important. You know what I mean? It really is so important that particular lesson because
Well, if you're
it's a
just
simple
always
key.
cognizant of what you're sending out to
That's
people,
it.
you get that back.
It's what I'm talking about all the time. All the time. And even when I'm not talking about it, I'm sending out that energy, like trying to let people know that, hey man, look at the energy I'm sending out. It's all intentional, you know? It's great. Awesome. Brian, well, listen, it's always amazing, amazing talking to you. Um, I think I'm just going to I may just wrap it up a little bit early tonight just because
Sure,
I think we're good. I mean, you
sure.
know, we announced our new project. you and I got to get together and talk about it and figure out when we're going to launch it. And we'll, you know what, we'll really hype it up. Angela says, we are high vibe happy. You two are high vibe happy. And you know what, Angela, again, thank you. And it's intentional. You know
It
what I mean?
is.
It's intentional. And
Pass
that's,
it on. Here's some
yeah,
more.
pass it on.
Ooh.
I love it. I love it. It sounds so gay, but I love it. So anyway, you'll come back soon, I am sure. And we'll get our own thing going, our own show going, and our own. So again, I'll give you guys a link so you can subscribe, but really we're gonna need some help just getting some subscriptions and comments to move it along and get it up there in the algorithm. So be there for us if you guys can. We would appreciate it.
And participate, please.
Absolutely, yes.
Bring your cards. Let's talk about it. Come on the show.
Yeah, Angela.
Let's talk about it. Yeah, absolutely. Angela, please come do a reading. Let's do a reading. Let's figure something out that'd be fun. I'd love that.
There. Awesome.
Yay! Awesome.
Awesome. We finally get her on the show. Nice. Well, all right, folks. Again.
Hey, I just want to say I'm really. It's always really humbling and makes me super happy to get to hang out with you guys. I love the vibe here. So thanks.
Awesome. I love that. I love that you even feel that way. Man, now I don't want to end. Now I just want to hang out. But you guys out there, again, this has been such a great experience for me. You've all been a part of my evolution. Hopefully I've been a part of yours, and we're just living collectively now. Bryan, stick around. I'm just going to play the outro, and we will talk. But everybody, peace. I love you. Rock on. We'll see you next week.